Welcome back again to Recap Kickback. It's me, your host, Chappell, and we're back again to talk about another Black movie. This time, delving into the realm of Black horror and talking about the new hotness on Netflix, the number one movie on Netflix, The Deliverance, starring a bunch of Black folk. And so, with me to talk about this, we do have to bring in a panel of a bunch of Black folk as well. With me, as usual, my co host, Mari. Mari, what's up?
I I am here. I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah.
Um, I never knew a Black exorcist story was possible, but here we are. Like, look at our people like expanding ourselves. I love
This
this.
was not an exorcism. This was a deliverance.
Deliverance,
Okay, they're
which
very different. Very different.
oh,
It's an exorcism.
We'll talk about
right.
it. We'll talk about it. Uh, that person from beyond the grave, y'all, is Tyrone. Tyrone, welcome back.
What's happening? I'm glad you called it out, Mark, because I was like, have we ever had a black exorcism? I don't think so.
No,
Like, there's a bunch of demons around here. I'm glad they brought it to the table here. I'm proud. I'm proud.
right.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I'm definitely happy to be here to talk about it with y'all too, because from what I can tell through my dealings with y'all like some horror, and so this is probably a shock to no one. This ain't my genre of movie and television, so
Oh, oh
yeah,
no.
so I'm here to learn from the
I love
master.
horror. I hate
Love it.
this type of horror. I
Oh,
hate
Oh,
I hate demons. I hate
you hate
exorcisms.
exorcism.
I hate them all.
yeah.
I hate anything if you're I don't like it.
Ooh.
But this was I was like I had to bite the bullet and watch this one because again, I never seen a Black version of The Exorcist. And then finding out it's like based on true events, like based on a real story, I was like, no. So
Yeah, and
but
we were
I did enjoy watching it. I
yeah,
found enjoyment.
we have a lot to talk about. Okay, a lot. Okay, because
Mhm.
like you said, this is a new realm for a lot of us. And so thank you all, of course, for being here for Recap Kickback. We again are your number one place to come and get content about the hottest TV, movies, film, music, culture, whatever the case may be. We try to keep it Black if we can, but we talk about everything here on the Kickback. And so make sure you come in and subscribe. Make sure you click like on the YouTube video. Make sure if you're not listening to this on our YouTube channel, what are you waiting on? YouTube.com/at Recap Kickback to make sure that you're a part of our YouTube community and to give us feedback about whatever we are talking about week to week and to make suggestions because we definitely take requests. Also, going on right now, we have our Bel Air coverage. Puya is my co-host for season 3 coverage of Bel Air, and we're about halfway through that season. So if you've been watching Bel Air on Peacock, check out our coverage, and you can also check out our old coverage of Bel Air on Bel Air, a post-show recap, wherever you get your podcast. But of course, we're here on YouTube every week, bringing you that and much, much more. Mari, this week we were going to talk about parts 3 and 4 of this docu-series that we talked about with Latanya Hollywood Black, but
Mhm.
we're pushing that back to talk about this movie, The Deliverance. So, how do we get here?
Well, first off, we're giving our listeners more time to watch Hollywood Black. Again, it's 4 parts, so the more time, the better. But it's something that we definitely think you guys should watch, and we will bring you coverage of episodes 3 and 4. But we got here because of Creole Close, right?
Mhm. Creole
Uh,
is strong. That's a strong way
very
of
sure.
putting whatever Glenn Close was in this movie, but that's definitely what brought us here.
Yes, because the Deliverance dropped on Friday, August 30th, just this past week. And like it was funny because like almost immediately, but also like 3 days later, all of a sudden a clip of Glenn Close being possessed, saying a very interesting quote. I'll let Chappelle handle that.
You think I'm
Uh
gonna say it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Started circulating on Twitter and social media to the point where everybody's like, I gotta go watch this. Like Lee Daniels is like, right up there. We I would put him Tyler Perry and Jace. We had this on our list to cover. Like it's not like we weren't
Mhm.
gonna cover it, but I don't think we realized how transcendent this was going to be and how it had social media in a tizzy. It is also the number one movie on Netflix. I think Chappelle already said that. So it's like we had to just do it right now while it's hot. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, that
Amazing
clip
marketing.
brought us here. The clip
Amazing
brought us
marketing.
here. But Tyrone,
Thank you.
you posed the question on social media. I saw it. Is Lee Daniels using clickbait
Is
to attract people to these movies?
I think so. I think he wanted to experiment a little bit because I don't know if we know, but Lee Daniels made The Butler, and this is far from it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think he wanted to experiment a little bit, and he knew that line, that little clip of Glenn Close, who the last time I saw Glenn Close, she was doing the butt at the Oscars or whatever.
Yeah.
That statement, he knew that people was going to go off on that statement. So we had to tune in. That's why it's number one. How long it'll stay there, I don't know. I think that's what we're going to kind of talk about, kind of the essence of the movie and how great it was or not great, depending on your stance. But it is here at number one, and he deserves an applause for that marketing.
Yes. I big agree. I think that he did what needed to be done. We called out Tyler Perry when he did it, and so we got to give the same type of smoke. Sometimes putting that one scene and letting it go viral is just enough to get everybody's attention on it. Because you're right, this is not something I would have normally watched. I don't watch like I'll watch it if everybody else is watching it. But as far as like going out of my way to watch a horror movie, it's just not something that ever appeals to me. I'm not afraid of the horror movies or anything like that. It's just they don't do nothing for me. I'm like, I know this ain't happening to me, so I'm not too scared of it. Me and my Jesus are really tight, so I ain't never worried about none of this stuff happening to me. You ain't got to scare me into praising God, okay, Shandu? Yeah, listen, every time, okay. You ain't got to say nothing to me because I'm gonna be at church house on the Sunday, okay. So don't worry about me. So in my mind, on some Sundays I've been to church. So anyway, yeah, I've been enough. Listen, he ain't gonna be like, what you doing here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, when I walk in the church house, God know me, Jesus know me. So that said, these things don't really appeal to me. I don't really get like the scary portion of them. Now, when you tell me that somebody like Glenn Close is going to be commenting on somebody's quote unquote nappy pussy, I'm going to have to check in. I'm going to have to check in because how did you get Glenn Close to do this? And so we need to start at the very beginning. This is Lee Daniels, and this is his fault. And I almost asked for him to be arrested, but I needed to watch the whole movie. Yeah, and maybe he should have been, right? Until we figure everything out. But I think I needed to watch the whole movie before I decided like how foolish this is going to be. And Mari, I'd say I'm pleasantly surprised it wasn't as foolish as I thought it could be.
Yes, like it was funny because it like took itself seriously, but also not too seriously. Well, not seriously enough for me not to laugh at it. Like,
yeah,
I love scary movies. I like scary movies that make you like scared, jump scare. I like scary movies with twists and turns when you gotta figure out like who's the killer. I do not like exorcism movies because it feels like you are inviting stuff that you should not invite. So I don't watch too many. That's a lie. I've watched a lot of them, but I don't like
I've seen them
them.
all, but I don't like watching them.
Exactly. My husband likes them. So like I like watching this, I was like, oh God. But I also am the type of person who loves a scary movie that you can yell at the screen at. And this was one of those. I am that person. I will yell at the screen and it will be the funnest thing to me. Again, this is how I almost lost my husband before we even got together because we went to the movies as friends and he didn't like that I was talking to the movie.
Oh, you pulled a Brenda from Scary Movie. Watch a Shakespeare in Love. Girl, you better. She about to get it on with Shakespeare.
That's some scary shit.
That's some scary shit.
Shoot. She said they both died at the end, anyways.
Yeah, that's for Big Mama's house.
That's me.
Candy Cameron now.
I love it. I did before I was with him. I was a yelling at the screen type, like somebody. And
look
then
how
once
far we've gone.
Yes. Once he got together, once he said that's not really his bag, I keep it calm. I keep it in appropriate settings. So at the house, at the house, these type of like black horror, you know, it's giving much like, you know, the ones like The Perfect Husband or all those ones where like Morris Chestnut or Michael Ealy are the bad guy somehow.
Yeah,
And like
dark skin versus light skin, you know.
and Gabrielle Union's like running through the forest for some
or
reason.
Megan
Like,
Good, or Megan Good.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
I love yelling at the screen for those type of stuff. So that's what got me through this. I was just like, I'm not taking any of this seriously. I'm gonna like laugh my way through it because it was some disturbing shit on here. I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of disturbing to me.
Yeah, Tyrone, you're the spooky guy here. Okay, talk to us. What did this speak to you as a horror film? Do you count this?
I don't. So I'm gonna go with Mario real quick in that I hate exorcism movies, but I've seen them all. Because the only movie that I probably like scared shitless was like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, because I didn't know what a contortionist was at the time. I didn't know what it was.
I hated that.
Back then, and Ty about walked out.
I was like, "What is this?"
I hated that movie. Oh my God.
I was like, I'm not with it. But this movie wasn't scary. It took 45 minutes to even get to a scary part in the first place, but it was funny to me. The whole thing, I mean, there was some trauma in there, of course, but the whole thing was funny to me. It does not fit in the horror. I was texting my family about it, and I was like, yo, you got to watch this. It's not a good movie, but it's quotable. It's funny as hell. So, like, I got quotes from this movie. The nappy pussy is definitely one of them, right? Even Monique's part in it, it was just like,
oh my God,
she was trying to be serious, but everything she said was funny to me. I'm gonna talk to the judge. I'm gonna talk to the judge, but them kids got fucked up.
Yeah, you fucking kids up. Yeah. Yeah.
Was she improvising that shit? Because she was like, she said, you stop playing musical ass house and maybe I know what the door is. I was like, shit.
Who wrote this?
It was so good. Everything that came out of her mouth, I was like, this is me. I am Monique.
Exactly.
This situation.
It was
what you doing to them damn kids?
Right. What is going on? Your son got bruised and you think it was from the playground? Like,
yeah,
what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny. It does not fit in the horror.
Yeah, I felt like it was a typical horror, like exorcism movie, but like y'all said, there was a little black realism, I would call it. Okay, there were some moments where if you're presenting a film, you're like, normally, you know, these characters say certain things in a certain way. There were definitely moments where it didn't feel like Monique was acting. It felt like they said, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think
I like
that's probably I like it. I was gonna say, I kind of like that. I feel like if you're acting good enough, it should feel like it's natural. And so there were definitely moments where, especially Monique's character, where I was like, oh, I mean, she said what she said. So we definitely want to talk about that. Lee Daniels, of course, being the person who brought this to us. Him and Monique have a history of working together, but this is not the most absurd thing I've seen from Lee Daniels as far as like putting an older white lady in a role. Have y'all ever seen the movie Shadow Boxer?
No.
So I don't remember the plot of Shadow Boxer at all. The movie dropped in like 2005, I want to say. And for some reason, this came across my desk a long time ago. But I'll spare you the gory details, except for the fact that Cuba Gooding Jr. and Helen Mirren have a love scene, and it is graphic. And so based on that, I was not shocked by the things that Glenn Close was doing in this movie, especially flirting with... Was this Omar Epps?
Omar Epps, bro?
Where did he come from?
The Wood?
He pulled everybody's card. I was like, they owe him multiple favors. Clearly, how did he get Glenn Close? How did he get Anjanou Ellis up in this piece? Like, I was floored. I was like,
that's speaking of Anjanou, that's what I came away with. It was like, what in the Lovecraft country is this shit?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
like, at the peak of Stranger Things,
right? Yeah. Well, honestly, the peak of Stranger Things was back when Caleb was a child. You know, now he's an adult.
But this film, because as soon as I saw this, I was like, "This is giving movie that got recorded years ago." Yeah, and sure enough, it was filmed in between June and August of 2022. So not that far, but.
Definitely far enough. And I was kind of
Yeah.
shocked to see that we got it because wasn't Lee Daniels and Monique kind of having like some?
They was beefing.
They was having some back and forth, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Right.
beefing. And that was from
So-
Precious, right? That was from Precious. They was beefing.
Yeah,
And that's been a
after
long
Precious,
time.
yeah. And then she talked about it on her club Shay Shay. I think she did say that she said they reconciled.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Okay.
So, but
Yeah,
it was really
surprised.
interesting to see her here again.
Yeah.
Though. And they do good things together. I'm not gonna lie. Monique's character was it for me. I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. She was so funny.
We cannot talk about this movie without talking about Glenn Close. Tyrone, I'll start with you. Glenn Close is a legendary actress. Her pedigree is known by many, many, many people. She has done big roles. She has done small roles. And I don't think I've ever seen her do a role like this. What did you think of Glenn Close as the white grandmama to these black babies in the hood?
Before she got possessed, the acting was pretty damn good. The acting was pretty good. I was shocked. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that Glenn Close had it in her, but I didn't know she had it in her in this capacity, like in this type of movie. Like I don't see this type of Glenn Close. I see 101 Dalmatians Glenn Close, so it was good. I thought playing the role of the mama who was terrible, who found Jesus, and she still got a little terrible in her. I thought she played the role pretty well. The back and forth between her and the leading lady, I thought was pretty good. The jabs, like it was. I'm not mad at it. I think Lee did a good job getting her on, to be honest. Why did she say yes? Is a question.
That's a good question. What does he have on Glenn Close? Probably the same thing he had on Helen Mirren. Mari, what'd you think?
Well, I was wondering if it's like Netflix, because like first off, Glenn Close has never won an Academy Award, which is triggering. And two, like somebody was like, she's just playing around now, because if y'all remember, she was in the Hillbilly Elegy movie like 2 or 3 years ago, the one that JD Vance, that's based on JD Vance, the vice president, his memoir, and she played his like granny, and she had this crazy makeup on and was talking like an Appalachian like hillbilly. I never saw the movie, but the same thing, that would be the white people's equivalent of this. Like those clips of her went viral, and everybody was talking about that movie, Hillbilly Elegy. All the white people were. So it's like she's just doing whatever the fuck she wants to now. That's what I think is going on.
She definitely looks like she's living life. I agree. Yes.
She's 77. She's 77, and she's just doing whatever she wants, whatever she feels like. And like, how great is that? Her makeup was sadly but greatly spot on for a white woman in the hood who wants to attract like a certain type of black man. Those skinny eyebrows took me absolutely out. I was like, but her wig was on point though. Her wig was on point.
Her wigs.
We
definitely got the wig switch halfway through as well. Yeah, Glenn Close, a legend, but like she has not reached Oscar status yet. I don't know if this will be the thing to get her there, but I do think it was a commendable effort. Ty brought up the fact that this is #1 on Netflix, and that is something that we should celebrate. But I know a lot about Netflix and the way their algorithm works, and sometimes Netflix just be like, here, this is #1 right now. And I feel like with the amount of money that they put into this film, just based on the actors alone, you have to imagine that they had to either shell out a bunch of money, or a lot of these people owe Lee Daniels favors, because this cast is stacked. And so I'm not shocked that it was #1. Andra Day is our lead. Glenn Close, as we've already pointed out, is her mother. Ingenue Ellis will show up eventually as she's there throughout the film, but they don't let her talk until the very end. But she'll show up eventually as the person doing our exorcism. And then, Yeah, exactly. Our apostle. And then Monique as the social worker. It's good to see Monique on this side of the social work industry because I have not forgot about Precious. You know, the way Mariah Carey was talking to Monique was wild. She's like, girl, you are horrible. I'm taking your child. You know, and so Monique was giving that energy back here. And to me, this movie it was a lot more about the house structure that these people was living in and actually not really about the ghost. Tied to your point about this not really being a horror film. We were really learning about like Glenn Close and the way she was a horrible parent, the way she's passed that down, her daughter's drinking, you know, the social workers coming over because there's obviously other problems prior to them moving into this haunted house.
Yeah, I thought that was, I mean, I understand it to an extent. I think that was the confusing part for me, was like the backstory of her being a terrible mother. It didn't play too much of a part other than them needing to move multiple times to get to that home in the first place. But other than that, it was just kind of like a side. It was like a leading story for the first 40 minutes. And then it became more of a side story. I guess there were reasons why DSS were involved, of course. And, you know, that could lead to her losing her kids eventually and blah, 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 blah. We'll get there. So I understand a little bit of that, but it was just like too strongly a part of the movie for it to be a horror film in the first, because to your point, the film is about the house and the history of the demon in the house. So why aren't we spending time focusing on the demon in the house? We hearing knocks and we got flies in the basement and we got a dead cat. And we're like, oh, okay, it's flies in the basement, it's just a dead cat. But then it's like a damn demon with a hole down there. Why are we not talking about that a little bit more? I just didn't understand.
Yeah, that's true. That is all true. However, I did think this is, if you know, like if you follow real world exorcisms, hauntings, demon possessions, this movie is spot on for that because, like, again, I don't like this stuff, but I listened to the last podcast on the left, very famous true crime / supernatural / ghost type podcast. And again, my husband loves listening to their haunting and possession episodes, so I have to listen to them too. And they talk about how, like, you know, in real life, depending on if you believe in demonic possessions or not, there's normally a rule of how the demonic possessions go when they're possessing a house or people, what have you. And this movie followed those rules, which I appreciated. A lot of people, like, again, you might not know what the rules of demonic possession is, but like it follows those rules. Like the demonic entity, it enters, it is tied to maybe a house or something, tied to something, and then it tries to weaken the people in the house so that it can find a host. The weakest hosts are normally always the children. And they always gain access through the children, and then it normally ends up into the adult, like literally bang for bang for bang. A lot of movies, The Conjuring. I can't remember. I don't think the demon ended up in The Parents and The Exorcist, but like I think it ended up in The Priest actually.
Anyway. It did end up in The Priest.
Yeah, so it's like it's like a bang for bang for bang, and so and it also it always ties to the kids in a sense of like kids that are going through puberty. So that the type with the little girl like starting her period during the movie, like that's all like they said, like people who really follow exorcists and demon possession, they said this is all stuff that is present in demonic possession. So I thought they did a really good job with that. I get what you mean, Ty, because I think they were going for some realism. That's why we didn't really like, you don't really see the demon, you see the people being the demon. You know what I'm saying? Like
demon,
possession.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I thought the backstory was a little holy, like you had to like piece it together. I was telling James, I was like, no, the father's stationed in Iraq. That's why he doesn't have kids. Because I was like, it sounds like he should have the kids. Like,
right.
Me, you know,
right. Like all this demon stuff aside, you don't necessarily need to have possession of your kids. You know, like maybe maybe let the dad take them. You know, like it just based off of
Exactly.
everything outside of the move here. This was an alcoholic who be beating her kids.
And I really liked / didn't like, because it's really sad, but how like the black trauma of it ties into the possession and ties into why people wouldn't believe the demonic possession, first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? And it's like generational curses. It's Black women not being believed when it comes to their kids, and are higher and more likely to get their kids taken away if something were to happen to their kids. I've talked about this on Crime Scene a lot, because we talk about different stories on Crime Scene, but it's like, me as a mom, as a parent, taking my kid to the ER is a different type of stress level than some other people wouldn't realize, like other white people or other people won't think about. Because if something suspicious were to happen to my child, and even if I didn't do it, I have a greater likelihood of CPS being called on me than any other person with a background similar to mine. So I like that they kind of folded that into and talked about like real Black trauma stuff, while also like it like being a demonic possession movie. Like there's a lot of things that this movie got right, while still not being like, oh, this is not a movie of the year candidate. It's just like pretty good. Like it's a pretty good streaming service movie to me. Like I was entertained. I didn't feel like how I felt after Divorced in Black. Like,
So that's interesting, because I don't think I put this 2 and 2 together until we just had this conversation right now. But essentially, the whole beginning of the movie was basically painting her as the demon possessing her child or her children, and then at the end of the movie, she had to fight herself, essentially, right? Because the demon took on the image of her, so she was fighting herself, and that's when they released the demons, right? So I can see the lead up now that we've had the conversation about it, but it took me a minute to be like,
most people who don't believe in demonic possession believe that all of demonic possessions and stuff like this is all like allegory, and all how the psyche deals with stuff like this. So like again, never seen it in a Black, it's like first time seeing it in a Black family, and again the story being true what was very interesting to me. And there's actually a documentary on Amazon Prime Video called The Demon House, based on their exploits. I did not watch that, because again, that's not my alley. But I know all of the mechanics of stuff like that. Like they really feel like it's like an embodiment of somebody's guilt or something like that causes a lot of these possessions and stuff like that. So very, very interesting concept for yeah.
So I pulled the article from the Indie Star, IndieStar.com, the Indianapolis, I guess, publication that originally broke the news of this exorcism. Okay, so this was written by Marissa Kwiatkowski, and basically she goes in and just like outlines everything that we see in the movie. I mean, there are some differences for sure. I think her mother doesn't die in real life at the hands of the demon or anything like that. But they had 800 pages of official records obtained by the Star about these cases. This is one of the most unusual cases, obviously, that they had to deal with at the DCS office. And so there's a lot of truth to what is going on based on the story of LaToya Ammons, who this is all about. And so, when I was reading through the headlines and like, I guess in the article, a lot of this stuff came directly from it. I mean, there was definitely some differences, but everything, even the kid climbing the wall.
Was true. Documented proof true.
Well, I don't know about proof. Ain't nobody see it. Well, ain't nobody.
No, they said the doctor saw it.
Yeah, well, I think the problem with proof is that,
like,
they ain't got no like
videotape
like footage or nothing like that. But yes, we have witnesses who said they seen this. And so
y'all finish the rest without me.
No. You didn't open this. You didn't open this portal to the other side. You just look. You survived all the rest of them. You're gonna be all right. You survived all the rest of them. You survived the Conjuring. This one black, so it can't be.
That's
You
kind of funny
don't
because
run.
the Conjurings are like my favorite. Those are like my favorite movies because they
Yeah, I
don't
see.
feel like possession movies in a sense.
Yeah,
The first
they
one,
like,
they're really,
yeah.
they're possession. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
No, so I read through the article, and I was very surprised to see how much was, like you said, taken directly out of
And documented,
the
yeah.
headlines from this and documented, right? And so
Scary
the
stuff.
story, of course, that they move into this house, they're plagued with flies and this incredible stench, and then eventually they go and talk to some clairvoyants because some weird stuff starts happening to the family, and it's some weird stuff that we saw in this movie. And so as Mari pointed out earlier, the kids, they might have been in an abusive household, yes, but when it came to them, when the demon starts to really get his claws sinked into them, these kids start acting up. So we got, we got Baby Dre, he's the target of the demon. The Trey is going through Dre to make all this demonic stuff happen. But these other kids, they're also taking some L's. Her daughter Shantae, in the middle of her recital, just starts free bleeding, Mari.
Yeah, man, free bleeding. And then Caleb Williams' character just starts laughing in class, but
laughing
like
at HIV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was poor timing
and
there, Lee.
Baby Dre shattered on himself in front of the
Oh
class.
yeah, it started throwing it. Oh my god!
And then they said we didn't see it, but they said that he ate.
They said he ate it.
They said he ate it.
Yeah.
Well, because what'll
notice.
happen? Yeah, because what'll happen in the article and it's in the movie as well is that when DCS and the authorities are involved, they're doing all these evaluations and they can't find anything wrong with the kids, and so it becomes public perception that they're doing this on purpose to like entertain their mom, to like she's got these fears about it and they're like performing basically for her. And so that's what they accuse her of. And in the movie she says, "You think my baby ate shit because he was trying to perform for me?" I was like, she's making a good point. That's a hell of a performance. Also same thing with the free bleeding. Honestly, like you can convince me that Nate started laughing at HIV, but you cannot convince me that little girl stood up on that stage and just started bleeding everywhere and with no like type of shame, just in front of everybody, runs everybody out of the auditorium and just stands there. That's a dedication to a performance like I've ever seen, Mari.
And I definitely had a laugh at like first off, my notes just said, "Dang, all the kids are going ham at school." And then but like they go to call her and she's in like a barbershop and the guy's like, "You have somebody in the chair, you can't answer that." At a barbershop?
She said, "My kids are being possessed. I'm finna go." Like,
regardless,
barbershop.
I'm in the salon. Yeah, like what you mean? I can't talk on the phone while I'm doing somebody's hair. What?
I've never seen somebody not on the phone at a barbershop.
As a matter of fact, every barber that I've ever had will have a whole ass conversation like you're not even in the chair. Ooh, my old barber, he used to walk off. Like if his phone rang, he's gonna take the call and be pacing around the room like, "Please, sir, please come cut my hair for the love of God." So
that right there, I was like, boy, if you don't stop. But yeah, like these kids are just, oh my God, I felt so bad for those kids. I felt so bad for her because it's like, what do you do? It's like your world is spinning out. I think she did the really good thing of like testing them for everything, but then they're like, everything's normal. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, you know what you do? You go to the bar and drink and you leave the kids at the house. What?
All night.
All night.
The sun was coming up when she
was in the wind. She was like, "Man, fuck this."
That lady walked home from the bar in the middle of the
night.
No
shoes.
Drunk as hell and said, "At least I didn't drive." I was like, "Ma'am, this is why they try to take your kids, okay? This is why Monique is in your business."
My other note says, "She ain't got no shoes on."
She ain't got no shoes on or nothing, Jesus.
Nothing.
She's gonna get bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. So so she's struggling. You're right. She's got this demon that she's probably not willing to acknowledge at this point is a demon. But she's also dealing with her own traumas. Her mom, Glenn Close, is Lee Daniels will go on Twitter, or I guess in an
Yes,
interview has now said
on
that Glenn
Twitter.
Close's character is a part of the fabric of the black community. You know, this older white lady who is a grandma to the little black kids in the hood slash mama to so whatever
I
strong
have
black
the
lady
tweet
is
here.
in the neighborhood. And you have the tweet. Could you read that
Yeah.
to us?
Every Black person knows in Alberta. She's part of the fabric of our community, but we've never seen her on screen before. Thank you, Glenn, for bringing her magnificently to life. The Deliverance is out now on Netflix.
Look,
Huh?
I too would like to thank Glenn Close for bringing this character to life because I have never seen this character before. This is not a character I'm familiar with. I am from the deep south. I'm from Texas. It's the south and the southwest at the same time. But listen, the white folks here, they got mixed babies too. But they not like hood adjacent white folks. They still be like trying to fake the funk. You know, like all right, like you know, we'll deal with the black baby daddy and the black child, but the child we don't see color. You know, they're that kind of white women. As far as like the grandmas that have the mixed kids, I've never seen a Glenn Close type doing a sew in a little hair weave train, Mari.
Never,
Oh my
never ever.
God.
And
Fine.
to your point about hood adjacent, this might be why the damn interior of the house looked middle class and the exterior of the house looked damn lower class. Like I didn't understand. I don't know what Lee is talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what Lee is talking about.
It's
Mark,
it's a part of the fabric, Mari.
no. It's a small corner of the quilt.
Exactly, because that hair trick, nobody does that. I don't know real Black women who does that. Like that is a made up thing for movies. If I'm getting my hair done, I'm not doing somebody else's hair.
Right.
And I cannot believe Glenn Close smacked that lady head. Like I was like, this is too on point. This is too much.
I said, damn, Glenn, she tender-headed. Don't hit her.
I know. Like that was just crazy to me. But I don't know. Do we not see these characters?
No, I would have rather them snap peas in the kitchen. I don't what is this?
The girl from Zola? Like, I don't know. Like, are we
I mean, well, listen, we know the young version of them. And I even know the ones that be like that have like matured and you can tell they've been around, the neighborhood a little bit. Like I know those women, but this woman was like the matriarch of a Black family, and that's what was kind of throwing me off. Was just like I'm sure it happens.
You heard in the real story though that that's a Black woman in the real story. The real story.
Yeah. The grandmama is Black in the real story.
Yeah, her character is completely made up. She does not die, and she's not a white lady in this in the original story. She's just her name is I think her last name is Campbell, and she's living in the house as well. She's Latoya Emmons' mother, but she does not die in the fight against the exorcist. I mean, well, the exorcism. In the exorcism, she does not die against the fight against the demon, I guess I would call it, right? So Lee Daniels, he cooked this up in his own mind. For this to be a fabric of the community, Mari. Why she wasn't in the story? Why do we need Glenn Close?
I mean, we didn't. I mean, she was a nice cherry on top.
She was acting.
Honestly, Monique could have played that role, to be quite honest.
I need to understand the intent behind the casting process. Like, was he looking for any mama that could work in that situation and she just did the best job and he hired her? I'm fine with it then. But if he went into it with the intent of making this a biracial situation, then I'm kind of confused.
Hold on, pause.
What?
You mean I can't even just imagine Glenn Close in a lineup for like a Black mother part, and she just showed up with her book, like with her portfolio. Like, I'm Glenn Close reading for the part of what's her name?
Alberta
in the hood. Okay, Glenn, go ahead and read.
Maybe he cast Andra first and was like,
"Who you want your mama?"
And was like, "Okay, she's light enough."
No, he said, I'm trying to see if I can find it, but he basically said he specifically changed the character.
He had a vision.
Yeah, because he said he had like mixed friends, so he wanted to portray this type of character.
Yes,
based off
that's
of
in the
his-
same
yeah.
tweet quote I believe that you were reading. I believe that he
Right.
later on goes to say like he wanted to tell the story for his mixed friends. But again, me and Lee Daniel we're not from the same neighborhood, so I ain't never
Yeah,
just
where he
met
grow up at?
this
That's what I
version.
want to know.
Yeah, I ain't never met this version. Again, not to discount his experience. If it happened, it happened. And I'm not, and there's obviously the Cash Me Outside girl will grow up to be something one day, right? Like she's gonna be somebody's grandma one day. God knows what she's gonna be like. And so I'm sure this happens. I just ain't never seen it. So, this blanket statement of every black person knows a Glenn Close type.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's where you lose me. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, calling them the fabric of our society or
they're
our community.
a part
Another
of the
problem.
fabric, a part of it, not the whole fabric. But they in there, they sprinkle in there a little bit. So
a little of the stitching,
a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah, they're gonna make sure we sew it though. They ain't gonna be a part of the fabric, but we gonna be the one sewing it. So moving on, we have our our evangelist here. She's showing
the apostle.
Our apostle. Anjanou
Get it right,
Ellis
Chappell.
shows up. Listen, I don't watch these movies. I don't be knowing. We don't do exorcisms in
No,
my
this is
church.
the first time you've been called apostle, actually.
Yeah. I'm like Tasha Smith. I'm like, we don't do exorcisms here. You're gonna have to go somewhere else. Speaking of Tasha Smith, she's a pastor.
Right. Tasha in there for 5 minutes, maybe.
She did the opening sermon, and then she came on later on to tell them they came to the wrong place. We don't do exorcisms at my church. And I said, me neither. I don't know where I would go to get an exorcism done, but
the Vatican.
I mean, do I have to just go there?
You gotta petition the Vatican.
But do I gotta go there?
No, you don't gotta go.
They email address? Like, how am I gonna get in touch with the Pope?
Matter of fact, what was the denomination of the church?
Black.
I'd be shocked if it was Catholic, because usually it's a Catholicism type of thing. Maybe that's why they didn't call it an exorcism in the show, because this lady was going to an AME church or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
legally outside of the church, you can't just be exorcising
exactly.
people.
That's exactly how. And I think the Vatican says you have, in order to do Vatican sanctioned exorcisms, it has to be performed by one of their exorcism priests. Like, this is the thing.
Well, we might not have been able to get the Vatican on the line, but we got exorcists at home. And so here to do our exorcism this time is Anjanou Ellis. And she has been lurking outside the house because this is not her first rodeo with this home. She had seen it before. And I don't think I've ever been more disappointed in Anjanou Ellis in my entire life than I was in this film, because this lady had one job. This lady had one job. She's been training her whole life for this exact exorcism. She said, last time this happened, I wasn't ready and I lost the kid. It didn't work out. But this time I'm ready and I'm coming in stronger than ever. She didn't bust a grape in the fruit fight, y'all. This lady didn't do nothing.
She said, I'm dying.
I'm dying. I said, no, she ain't. I turned to Mari. I was yelling at the screen. I said, no, you ain't. You are. What are you talking about? You dying. This is your idea.
Don't say you're mad at Anjanou. Say you're mad at Reverend Bernice.
Reverend Bernice pissed me off, Mari. This lady been training her whole life.
Got her ass whooped.
She lied on her resume. She lied.
Oh my God.
It really 3 liters of holy water and still
lost. Still lost. I said, you came in here with all the key. You said, I got it. Okay. I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to know. And she did the normal script where whenever you're dealing with an exorcism, hey, let me tell you, when we go in there, it's not your loved one anymore. Okay. They're gonna tell you whatever they want to tell you. You got to believe whatever. They're gonna transform into different things. But you just stand behind me. I got it. Mari, she got the sprinkling that holy water. I said, just pour it on them. I mean, at this point, what are we doing? Yeah, like it was too much. And then to just get mopped up and leave our main character to fight off the demon on her own. Well, and why were you here, Bernice?
Too. She got mopped up. She was like, hey, go upstairs. Go upstairs. We got this.
Yeah, I got it. No worries.
As she died.
She said, "I'm dying," like with a straight face. She wasn't like, "I don't think I'm gonna make it." She said, "I'm dying." But you have the tools.
But so like, and that was another thing, right? So not you normally do not see exorcism movies where the person who's like possessed changes into other people, right? Like, so I was watching it when Alberta dies like 75% of the way through. I'm like, how I was so confused because I was like, we didn't see the nappy pussy part yet.
Right.
And,
I've been waiting all this time for that nappy pussy part.
I was like, what is happening? How is she dead? And then so the son is possessed and Bernice is trying to do her thing, but then the son got the other little boy's face on his face, which was weird and all weird and CGI. And I was like, what the fuck is going on there? And then all of a sudden, Alberta's in the chair again, looking all demonic. I was like, I turned to James, I was like, what did I miss something? Why is Alberta here now? I was so confused. Yeah. And then I realized, I was like, oh, the demon is like, I thought that was kind of interesting because you don't see that in like exorcism movie. Normally it's the voice. It's always the voice that changes. It's like different voices.
Turn like green or some sort of different color or something.
Vomit.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting. And then, like Ty said, Audrey Day's character fighting herself at the end, like the demon embodying her, was pretty good. Yeah.
I thought this was a good showing for Audrey Day. You know,
I did too. I was like, she's doing it.
Yeah, this was good. I enjoyed the acting across the board. Obviously, Audrey Day, you know, she's a decorated actress as well. But I mean, you know, sometimes it's fun to see these like more polished actors play a role that's a little grittier. And by grittier, I mean black. You know, I really do mean like, you know, step outside of the acting school, you know, and just kind of like give us something that feels a little real. Ty, how'd you think she did?
I think she did. Honestly, I thought she played the role of the black mama extremely well. When she called that man whole government Nathaniel Dewan, I was like, okay, yep, that's
yeah, he was mama. Nate earlier, but now she mad. Right. Yeah, now she mad, Nathaniel. So one of the things I noticed in the article is that y'all, in the movie, it might have been just one good little exorcism, you know, straight in, straight out. It was one exorcism that affected 3 kids at the same time. I had never seen that before, but I found out later on that maybe, just maybe, in the article it says that there was at least 3 exorcisms done. So I guess sometimes you tap it and then you got to come back and make sure it's still, you know, got to make sure you get all of the demon. You can't just leave it after one.
Again,
did she have 3 kids in the real life story?
No, she only had 2. Really? No, I thought I read she only had 2.
Hold on, let me look. Because I'm pretty sure I had the ages were like 7, 9, and I think there were 7, 9, and 12 in the article I saw, but I might be wrong. Let me check.
I thought she only had 2 and the oldest was 9, but while you look, that's standard. Like the exorcism of Emily Rose, that was like her 5th or something when she died. Like like a lot of them, it's like they do that shit over and over again, and that's how somebody ends up getting hurt.
Gotcha. Yeah, it says the family said demons possessed the Ammons and her children, then 7, 9, and the oldest being 12. 12 was the one who levitated. So it was actually the 12-year-old.
Oh motherfucker.
12-year-old is the one who levitated. That's what I'm saying. I can't read that.
In the movie.
That's wild.
I'm fucking running.
Well, in the movie, technically, the 9-year-old, the daughter, is the one who levitated, you know, out of the bed.
Was she 9?
I don't know if she was I was just saying the middle child. The middle child is the one that levitated.
Yeah.
They had she had 2 older kids and a younger kid. I think was that her 15th birthday they were celebrating or something like that?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, her 15th birthday was wild though. They had dice, they had liquor, they had weed
in their house.
Yeah.
She dancing on people. Who are these people you dancing on in your house?
No, she in the hood. She in the hood. Hey. When you have a party in the hood, everybody in the hood comes to the party.
But for the baby, for the child, you know, Mari, remember we were talking about rap shit? and how the baby had a party and you could tell everybody was drunk at the baby party. That's how it felt. Like, like it's a party for the kids, but is it really?
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. But at the party, we did see, and I mean, we've touched on it a little bit. Omar Epps is in this movie, y'all, and him and Glenn Close hook up at the party. They definitely hook up.
So weird, man.
I don't want to talk about it.
What is happening? I know, right? It's just like we have like A-list actors popping in doing random ass shit in this movie, like
and then leaving,
Smith preaching, Omar Epps hitting on Glenn Close, hooking up and leaving. Like, what? Why?
Why was that in the movie?
That man saw a nipple. He sang karaoke. He got some booty, gave a good morning kiss, and was never seen again.
Why was that in the movie? What do you think Lee Daniels is trying to tell us about this fabric of our culture, of our community? That like, and she also gonna be smashing on a younger black dude somewhere. You know, like
you go black, you never go back. That's what he's trying to tell.
Yeah, what exactly is this in here for? Because it doesn't move the plot at all.
No, it does not at all.
Like, no, it's a character moment for somebody who dies three-fourths of the way into the movie. So it's very odd to me that they include that.
It goes back to what you said. Maybe Omar owed Lee a favor, and it was like, "Hey, I need some more star power. Come on this and do this role real quick."
I mean, I'd ask if what Omar Epps' most recent thing that he's done that was like well known as like not outside. Obviously, he's on like I believe he's in Power Book 3. But I don't know. It's like movie wise, I didn't know Omar Epps was out here doing the things.
I think the last thing he did was like a B-rated movie that was on Stars. I can't remember the name of it though. I think that's the last thing I saw him in, other than Power Book 3.
Yeah. Very surprised.
Can we talk about that ending though? Like that ending, that was crazy to me. I was like, I literally wrote down this too much, like to quote Monique. Like,
okay, well, what about the ending stood out to you? Was it just the fight, or what you mean the after the fight stuff?
No, all of it. The fight. I mean, after Bernice gets her ass whooped, which is very funny. We talked about that. And when Audrey Day goes into the basement and has to like really face the demon herself, she doing the back bends. I'm like, God damn it, we cannot escape an exorcism without getting a contortion and back bend. And then her kids, like the girl having stigmata, like bleeding out her eyes and levitating.
Oh, that was another good movie. Stigmata, right. And then I think her oldest son, was he basically crucified at that? Like
yes.
Was he? I thought he was rending his flesh. He was tearing his flesh.
Yeah, but at the end, he was like this. He had his feet crossed at the bottom. He was, basically fully naked, other than his drawers. So he was definitely. It was definitely some imagery of the crucifixion. Yeah,
crucifixion, and then and then they had to do Audrey Day had to fight. I realized she had to fight herself because if not, she was fighting her younger son.
Yeah, they couldn't have her fist fighting Lil Dre.
Yeah, little boy. But then she started speaking in tongues, and apparently that wasn't in the script.
Woo! But she hit it because when I tell you a joyful noise over here, because I was like, okay, man, listen. Back in
y'all been around? Have y'all been around people that spoke in tongues before?
Well, back in the vacation Bible school days, we used to imitate them people so much to where we had little shorthand. Have you ever spelled Eddie really fast, Mari?
No.
Spell Eddie really quickly.
E-D-I-E.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. We used to do that all the time. I know tongues. Okay, I can't speak it, but I can. Ooh, bless you, bye. Yes.
Oh my God. That's exactly what it sounded like too. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes. Riding in a Honda. Yes.
Yeah.
Shit about a Honda. Yes. Yeah. Riding in the Kawasaki. Yes. EDDIE. Yeah. We used to do that all the time. I'm sorry. When you grow up in that church house, you got to make it fun for yourself after a certain point. So when she started speaking in tongues, oh no, my foot got to tapping, y'all. I was all right.
I hit some I rebuke you in the name of
Jesus. You was with her. You was like, let me go ahead and give some energy
let me
to this.
Piggyback so you stay in there.
Yeah. But so ultimately, Andre Day's character, Miss Ebony, finding Jesus was really what helped her in this moment. You know, she does fight her metaphorical demon and literal demon, but she ends up turning to the God that she's scoffed at this entire time. You know, she's kind of talked about her mom, Glenn Close. Oh yeah, now you didn't found Jesus. Now you want to be in the church house when you was abusive and all this other stuff when we were younger. You still be cussing up a storm, but that's pretty normal to the church that I know as well. You know, the if you listen closely, the older women in the front row be cussing too. She brings it up. She's like, hey, those things weren't cool back then, and now you found Jesus, and we're supposed to let it all go. But eventually, her embracing Jesus herself, that very crucifix that she scoffed at, Ty, ends up being the thing that helps her save the day. She called out to Jesus when nobody else could help her.
She did. You know, that's kind of what the apostle told her. It was like, and this is where the whole idea of this is an exorcism, this is the deliverance, is that you don't need some intermediate person, you know, to make this happen. You really just need you and your connection with God.
Which is
and that's what it is. So she used that, and she was able to fight the demons. She was able to get her children back 6 months later. You know, she was battered and bruised. She was real fucked up.
Yeah. You made it.
She got out of there, but she got out of there. You know what I mean? So it was good. It's good.
Yeah, and that's the real life difference between Catholicism and the tenets that, you know, form Protestantism and, you know, everything that spirals from it. It's a direct link to God versus having to go through the Pope and his intermediaries. So yeah, it was really good. I like that at the end there.
Yeah, and she got her kids back. You know, they do go to foster care because, like Ty said, they pretty fucked up. But eventually she gets them back. I question whether or not we should be giving them back after only 6 months. This lady does need to be in some Alcoholics Anonymous type of meetings or something like that. Like aside from the deliverance of it all, she wasn't great. She wasn't great. So I don't know what other counseling and stuff that she went to in the meantime, but they got to get this alcohol problem under control, Mark, because you can't just be like leaving the kids at the house for hours out the day, even if there isn't a demon inside the house.
Right. You can't be doing that. You can't be going to corner boys and beating them up and tell them you beat their whole ass mama too.
Look, she said, go get your whole ass mama. Okay.
Right.
And I said, well, points were made. She kicked that dude right in the balls.
Points were made. Listen, the reason why she got them kids is because of my favorite quote came from Monique. I'm going to talk to the judge, but them kids was fucked up. Let's slide out of there. It's so real. It's so real. So, you know, let's give Monique her blessings for talking to the judge and getting them kids back. And she had to go back to Philly. She went back to Philly, talking to the daddy. They communicating. She had to get them kids out of I can't remember where they were. She had to get them kids.
They were in Pittsburgh in this movie.
Pittsburgh. Oh, she had to get them kids out there because
Indianapolis.
Kids embarrassed themselves.
Gary, Indiana.
Oh, they were in Gary? Oh, home of the Jacksons. Oh, yeah, they got bigger problems. They got bigger fish to fry.
Them kids embarrassed themselves in school, so they couldn't stay there no more.
No way they could go at that point.
They gotta move.
After the eating feces part, when your son start eating his own boo-boo, you got to go. You can't stay here no more. I don't care what the outcome was. Ain't nobody gonna believe this exorcism story. Get
out of my face, you African booty scratcher! Like arm of the boys.
They finna call him a bunch of things. Everything but child of God. It was time to go for sure. And speaking of real, Ty, this is when we see that, you know, this is based on true events. And we even get a picture of the real house. Mari, I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know, honestly, that this was based on true events until I got to the end. And then I went back and did my research.
Yeah, I mean, they say it at the beginning.
I mean, but people say that all the time.
Don't pay attention.
But look, you think I read the beginning, please? No.
They showed a picture of the house. They showed a picture of Latoya, sorry, Emmons. And the house was bought by a ghost hunter guy who was on TV, and he filmed, I think, that documentary that we talked about in the house, and then he demolished it in 2016. So the house is gone. They said there's still like
strange
Events?
occurrences.
Strange
Yeah,
events.
no,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
But to that, I say, did the exorcism not hit? You're like, dang, well, how many of these we got to do for the strange events to stop? I feel like this is. I thought we was thorough.
Nah.
Them demons are strong. Like everybody call like alcoholism and things like that, like a demon. That's why you got coins. You never get rid of it. It's just you just learn how to cope. And I guess that's the same situation with this. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was on the same page as you. I was like, why they got words at the end of this movie? This shit real?
This shit was real and honestly really entertaining. So I was very excited about it, about talking about it with y'all. Very different vibes than we had when we talked about TP, Mr. Tyler Perry. But again, I guess this goes to show you that you can have something that's clickbaity and that is not awful. You know, you can have big moments that people can speak about, that you can put in a trailer that'll grab people's attention and still tell a compelling story without sacrificing, you know, all of the normal movie watching experience, you know, because I think when we watched Tyler Perry's what was it, The Divorce in the Black, that I think it was clickbait, and then when you got there was more clickbait and more clickbait and more clickbait. Whereas this felt like there's a couple moments that you definitely could laugh out loud at and get your attention, but it still told a very compelling story. And I was happy that we decided to talk about it. Tyrone, what do you think about the movie overall?
I would give it another watch. You know, I like a good movie with a replay value. I would give it another watch only because I think it's something that's funny, because I would watch it with my family and we would find ways to use these quotes for the rest of our lives. It is one of those movies that I think hits like that. And so I'll give it a solid B. I like it.
Okay. Mari, are you going to grade this one too?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a fun thing. I really had to put up a wall and divorce myself from the subject matter. So it didn't get to me, but I thought it was really, we was watching like, what? Like just yelling and like, what? Who does this? And I cracked up every single moment that Monique was on that at one point she said, fuck you too, bitch. Like for like no reason.
She started talking noise first. Like her and Granny are just eyeballing each other.
Yeah.
Mama in there. I said, God, you know, like
yes, it
Miss Cynthia was over it.
It was good. So definitely a B. Again, like I think of like stuff that's in theaters, box office, and then I think of like good streaming services movies that you watch on the weekend. Exactly what I did here, you know, when you're like it's nighttime and stuff and you want to get a little cozy. Like this is that, and it was good. It felt high quality to it. Again, it didn't feel like I was watching a soap opera or anything like that. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, this is really good. If you're listening to this, let us know in the comments. What was your favorite part about the movie? Let us know what you thought. If you thought that it passed the test, or if this was more Tyler Perry than we like to admit. Yeah, maybe you didn't like it. I saw a lot of people say I turned it on and turned it right back off. So I would love to hear your opinions. Leave the comments. Yeah, let us know. You said the religious people was running from it.
Yeah,
that's wild.
like on TikTok, there's a lot of people who were like, the people who were like, not even the one. I don't play with that. Like, so there, you know how there's like, I don't play with that. Then there were people who were like, in the name of Jesus, don't watch this because see who's making it. They trying to get you type thing.
The agenda.
Yes, exactly.
You can't say nappy pussy and then have all the religious people want to watch it. I
mean, you really can't say nappy pussy outside of this podcast. Like this is like we go after this, we're not saying it no more.
And then have the fabric of the community say it. Never mind. I'm sorry.
You know, part of the fabric, not the whole fabric, just a piece of it. You know, we all God's children here. Tyrone.
So already the Illuminati. Truthers and all of that is coming for it, but it's cool.
I church.
Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah, it's a movie, y'all. But you don't gotta watch it. But if you did, let us know what you thought. Let us know in the comments. at us on social media at Recap Kickback on Twitter. You can DM us on Instagram. You can DM us on TikTok. Or you can, of course, leave that in the YouTube comments, youtube.com/@recapkickback to let us know what you thought about this movie and to let us know what you want us to talk about for spooky season. Because October is about a month away. We got Halloween, and I got the best guest ever for Recap Kickback when it comes to Halloween. Because all of these people I talked to, Latanya, Tyrone, Mari, they're all insane and they love scary movies. And so I'm sure they'll have a lot to say about scary films in the future. In the meantime, Tyrone, thanks for coming back, boss. What you got going on?
This was fun, man. I got Recap Kickback. I got my ad up here, which means I'm back on Twitter. So I'm back out in the world socially. So that's what I got going on, man. Just kind of inserting myself back into social media and then coming back for some more Recap Kickback.
Yeah, can't wait to have you back. We'll find something else for you to talk about soon, of course, because we can't let you get too far away, Tyrone. But Mari, what you got going on?
Me and Sarah Carradine are bringing True Crime Tuesdays to RHAP over on the Crime Scene podcast. This past week, we talked to Kevin from Crime Writers On about the Lacey Peterson docuseries on Netflix. If you want to hear our thoughts, go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed. Jason Reed is coming up next with Worst Ex Ever, I believe is what we're going to be watching with him. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pike. So just make sure you're subscribed to Crime Scene. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. I am covering Big Brother with RHAP as well. So if you want to know when I'm going to be on, follow me on Twitter. You'll see we were just on the Sunday night recap episode of Big Brother. Thank you. It was the ladies' night when me, Asia Welsh, and Kirsten McInnes took over, and we had so much fun. So if you haven't seen that, just go to the RHAP YouTube page there as well. That's it for me, Chappell. What do you got going on?
You can catch me on the Nothing But Netflix podcast talking about Netflix shows with Rob. This week, we talked about a hot dog eating contest on Netflix between Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi. It was insane. I did not know we had such elite eaters in this world. And they was eating down, I would say. And so we had a new world record. We saw Rey Mysterio, Mari, made an appearance, and Omos, my guy. And so yeah, both of them made an appearance. So it was a fun time. Check that out and make sure if you don't want to watch people go swallow roughly 80 something hot dogs in the span of 10 minutes, you can always go listen to us talk about it on the Nothing But Netflix podcast and subscribe on Twitter to Nothing But Netflix at Nothing But RHAP. And then, of course, here on Recap Kickback, more content coming. Bel Air is coming your way. Puya and I are making our way through the season. I think we got 2 more weeks of podcasts for Bel Air. And then AJ really wants to talk about Fight Night. And I think Fight Night should be out by the time this is out. So, I think Tyrone might make an appearance for that too. So, yeah, we should be bringing that to you. And then the conclusion of Hollywood Black with Latanya. We got to get that on her schedule. And then, of course, much more content to come moving forward. But you can keep up with all of that and more by subscribing to Recap Kickback and following at Recap Kickback on all social media platforms. But that's it. That wraps up the Deliverance. Hopefully we will be back for a lot more content as long as the demons don't get us. But until next time, you ain't got to go home, but you definitely can't stay here because I'm about to turn all the lights on before I go to sleep. Talk to you all next time. Peace.
I've been trapped behind Tall Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreamers. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.